My name's Bando, and this is the Horus Heresy ASMR channel. You join me for the silky smooth sounds of the Age of Darkness. Such classics like Fuck Erebus and Magnus Did Nothing Wrong. Sit back, relax, and let me chill your spine. With episode 4 of Wreckers with Bando. Hi guys, how you doing? It's Bando here, and today I'm going to be showing you some of my Raven Guard, or not just Raven Guard, my Shattered Legions force actually, as requested in the comments of the last video. This is a really heavy work in progress army, and it's nowhere near finished, so please, bear with me. Right, well, let's just start with the background of the army. Fleeing the butchery of the drop site massacre, many parts of the forces that would become known as the Shattered Legions, the Iron Hands, Raven Guard and Salamanders, were in complete disarray and banded together for sheer survival. One such group of these was made of a ragtag group of ships from all three legions, who rendezvoused at a long-dead world, a world which had come into compliance close to 100 years ago, a world which had a thriving human population of 8 to 9 billion people at an early industrial level. They had wireless communication, they had atomic weapons. It's very much sort of an early 20th century, early to mid-20th century in comparison to our own world. And unfortunately, they had the one weakness of faith. They had a god that they would not relinquish belief in. And after being told and asked and eventually begged, the Ninth Legion was forced to do what the Ninth Legion does. And they unleashed the forces of the Blood Angels and utterly decimated the planet. Things were going pretty well. It was a standard compliance. Break the enemy's spirit, destroy their military, take over, and then come in and re-indoctrinate them into the Imperial truth. Right up until the point that these humans deployed their own crude atomic weapons. And with that, they unleashed the killer instinct of the Blood Angels, who utterly destroyed the planet. They used their own rad weapons, and even deployed virus weapons that left the entire surviving population sterile. It's been nearly 100 years since that happened, and now this dead world echoes with warfare once more, as the survivors from the drop site massacre use this planet to try and survive. Unfortunately, they were followed by the World Eaters, and while the fleet keeps them on their toes in the void, the troops on the ground are fighting a constant guerrilla warfare campaign against the World Eaters. This army was built because I wanted to make an army where every legion's specialty was wrong. And I know it's, becoming a theme with me. I do everything wrong. What I mean by that is the Raven Guard were not going to be the sneaky ones. They weren't going to be the fast-moving ones. Any heavy weapons, any tanks, things like that, that was going to be the Raven Guard. So at the moment, I currently have 2 tactical squads of Raven Guard. And each model is made to look like they come from a different squad. I didn't want any 2 of them to have the same sort of markings. I didn't want any of them to look like they came from the same unit, so they've all got different armour marks, they've got different markings, the panels on their armour is painted differently. I also went and added a couple of things like freehand, like lightning bolts, almost like the White Scars. I kind of liked the idea of breaking up all the black with a bit of white. Splashes of red as well for, veterans, that sort of thing. I've also used several of the bodies from the Mordathan squad in here. I picked up the Mordathan squad a while back because I had 5 armies that I wanted to add Vigilators to, and it was cheaper than buying 5 Vigilators. Each squad will be accompanied by an apothecary. I've got 3 apothecaries in the list, and the apothecaries are all from the Salamanders Legion. And the guy on screen at the moment is actually about 90% printed, 3D printed. You could tell on the backpack, definitely that was a really bad job. But I believe the one shoulder pad and the bolt pistol are the only parts that aren't actually printed on him. I was quite happy with that guy. The second squad is a lot more iron armour. It's not as much Corvus armour or Maximus armour as the first squad. Simply because I was struggling to find it at the time. And like the first squad, the sergeant has a power fist and melter bombs, and they all have just bolters, and they're all over the place. Some of them have got sort of more advanced bolters. Maybe they were veterans, or they were part of something like Seeker squads, but they've all been banded together into what would be tactical squads. Next up, I have 4 of a 5-man tactical support squad with plasma guns. I wouldn't normally play plasma guns on a tactical support squad, but I kind of wanted them. I liked the idea of them in this. And again, sorry for the awful photography. And now that I've just cracked open another box of Mark III Marines, I have another plasma gun. So as soon as I find someone to pop these on, I can finish that squad off. And you can see these guys have got armour from all over the place. I've got some of the old classic Mark II in here, Mark VI, Mark IV. But this is supposed to be still relatively soon after the drop site massacre, so before they could start manufacturing things like Mark V or get resupplied. The Iron Hands are present with quite a small detachment so far. I have a Pravian without any of his robo buddies. With the axe has come from a Tech Marine. Has come from the old metal Tech Marine model. The legs are from Loggy K, I believe. Loggy K's legs. And same with the torso. That's actually pretty much the same on all of those guys. A lot of them I've used Loggy K's. I can't remember what the file's called now. Iron something. Just because I wanted... There are very few kits with bionic legs on them. And you can see here I've also got an Assault Marine because I wanted the Iron Hands to be the fast moving part of the army. So I've got... It will have Vorax, it will have an Assault Squad. You can see the Assault Squad here as well, in their varying state of completion and how much of them is printed. And the jump packs are again printed. They're from I think Legio 14 guy on Cults. Fantastic kit, absolutely love it. Use it for my Ultramarines as well. Still waiting to make the Sergeant for this. I have a very particular idea for a conversion for him, but I haven't had a chance to put it together or print any parts that I want for it. The next character, or next model to take a look at, is the second Salamander. Sorry. The majority of the Salamanders that are in this force are a recon demi company, and they are still wearing the camouflage uniforms they wore during the Unification Wars, the assault on the Tempest Gallery, which is one of the most bloody conflicts in the Unification Wars, where the Salamanders led a subterranean termite drill attack on a giant power station. This is originally, the camouflage came from the Badab War series, which is mentioned in Rogue Trader, but was later retconned and thrown into the Heresy as well. I really like it. It's very different. It certainly stands out, which is obviously not what you want for camouflage. But the plan here is the Vigilator, a recon squad, And it was going to be 3 Legion Hussars as recon bikers, but Legion Hussars have gone the way of the Dodo in version 2, so they may just become Outriders. Next up is a Tech Marine for the Raven Guard, and I know he doesn't look particularly Raven Guard-y because of the Mark III armour and the red shoulder pad. I was trying to get the balance between the red of a Tech Marine and the black of the Raven Guard. It didn't work out particularly great. I can't find any Raven Guard decals small enough to really fit anywhere. And I wanted him to be kind of a lightweight tech adept. He's not a full tech marine. He's the kind of guy that went in, he would go in and sabotage machinery with the guys. And in this situation, he's managed to secure himself a conversion beamer from a vehicle, a fallen dreadnought or something, and rigged it up to use it as a crew-served weapon. Which I think is very fitting to the narrative of this sort of ragtag guerrilla warfare. Next up, you can see obviously a work in progress of a console for the Raven Guard, using the Masters of the Chapter kit. Again, this just hasn't had any chance to work on this one yet. And then next up, some Gorgon Terminators, and these are, it's a 10-man unit. There's 2 missing who haven't been stuck to any lids. I use the Coke bottle lids just because they're really handy to hold while I paint. They're made of a mix of the Iron Hands Gorgon Terminator unit and then just plastic, usually Deathwing, leftover Terminator bits from my Imperial Fists, just to make a full 10-man unit and make them look a bit more interesting. I've actually just ordered a Green Stuff World cable Green Stuff roller, so I'm going to be adding a lot more cables to these guys and making them look a bit more interesting. So that's really what I wanted to show off on the on my Shattered Legions force at the moment. There are some more models in it, but nothing I particularly want to show off. I don't particularly want to show off any of the unpainted stuff already, but you know, just gotta get these things out there. If you guys have any requests, if there's anything you want to see, if you want to see me do any painting tutorials, I know a lot of the guys on Discord really harp on about my painting. I don't know why, I'm not that good. Or if you want to see anything particular, I have more Sons of Horus, Thousand Suns, more Imperial Fists, more White Scars, some Ultramarines. Hell, if you want to see some Black Templars, I can bring that out as well. Or even some Ulthway, I suppose. So yeah, if you have any questions or any requests, just drop them in the comments. I'll respond usually really quickly.